Founders who build successful AgeTech companies all do one thing that's incredibly simple, but many still skip it. Today, I'm breaking it down and showing you how to avoid the biggest trap AgeTech founders fall into. If you're new here, I'm Karen Atkin. I run the gerontechnologies.com, where we publish the annual AgeTech market map, featuring hundreds of startups from around the world. Over the years, I've had thousands of deep dive conversations with founders across the AgeTech ecosystem. And one major pattern keeps coming up again and again. The way I see it, AgeTech startup founders fall into two groups: the ones who have experienced the problem firsthand and the ones who didn't. And when I say firsthand, I mean you personally lived it. Watching an older loved one struggle with it is powerful, but it's not the same as living it yourself. If you're the user, if you have a lived experience of the problem you're trying to solve yourself, that is a huge advantage. You experienced the pain, you were willing to pay for a solution, you asked your peers what they were doing to deal with the same problem, and you realized there wasn't a good solution. That is a great place to start. But if you're in what I call the mission-driven zone, you saw an older loved one struggle with it, you care deeply, but you are not the user yourself. That is a hidden trap. You might think you know what older adults want based on the experience of your older loved one, but unless you've done proper user research, you don't. You're guessing. And here's the crazy part. It's not even that hard to do. If you catch this early, you'll save yourself months, if not years, of wasted time, money, and heartache. I like to look through the lens of user-centered design to explain where many AgeTech startups struggle. They skip the research phase, which is critically important, and jump straight into building. But the founders who run successful AgeTech companies, they always start at square one. Deep, relentless user research, even when they're strapped for resources. So if you don't have firsthand lived experience, and in some cases even if you do, you can skip user research. The purpose of this is to validate two things. First, the problem actually exists the way you think it does. And the second is that the pain is strong enough that people are willing to pay for a solution. And if the user isn't paying, you need to figure out exactly who is and talk to them too. And when you interview people, don't pitch, don't sell, just listen. How does the problem show up for them? How painful is it? Have they tried solving it? Would they actually pay to fix it? Because just identifying a problem doesn't mean people care enough to buy a solution. We actually covered this in our January masterclass on building user-centered products. And at the end of the day, you're building a business, and businesses solve real problems for real people. And here's the killer insight. The most successful AgeTech startups, they're obsessed with getting user feedback early and often, even when it's messy, even if they don't have funding, because building in a vacuum almost never works. So quick recap. If you've lived the problem yourself, you already have a head start. But if you haven't, the key to building a successful AgeTech startup is relentless user research. Validating the problem, validating willingness to pay, including your users throughout the product lifecycle, and getting a deep understanding of users' real journeys. Many still skip this, but those who don't, they're the ones who build solutions that truly matter. Another important piece of research that's often overlooked is competitive market analysis. If you want me to do a separate video on that, let me know in the comments. Thanks for tuning in. And until next time, stay humble, stay curious,